Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. We are live. Okay, let me tweet that out real quick. Sorry for the 1 minute delay there. It just took a minute for my broadcasting software to load up. Thought I did that a little bit earlier, but it's good. So anyway, hope everybody had a good trading day today. Pretty amazing bullish move today, really. I mean, look at it. See that bar right there on the SPX? It's just like, hey, how's it going? I am bullish today. So this is pretty interesting, right? So this kind of changes everything. Kind of have to. Well, we never really officially said that this was a wave 3 or wave 4. So, but just kind of a recap, right? We had 2018, this channel, coming up. We've got two pitchforks through the through that year of 2018 coming into this year. One real major one right off the major pivot at the beginning of the year, and then off of two major pivots during the year, and that's kind of served as some good support, right? Resistance, and who knows, now possibly support, and so on. So let's see if this pitchfork too becomes future resistance. So we don't know yet. The point is, though, is that market was going up, everything's cool, hunky-dory, right? Then we hit a double top, and then we have impulsive wave down, wave 1, and it looked like we had an A, B, C here, right? And then the real question is, was this a wave 3, right? And then it looked like it was working on a wave 4, but today we crossed over a high of 2613. We hit 2613.08, which crossed over our wave 1 low, and we all know that that is a rule breaker, right? So wave 4 cannot cross into the path of wave 1. So right now, this guy right here is not a wave 4. So what is it? I don't know yet. So we had to figure that out. So let's look at a couple scenarios real quick. So obviously that was a huge bullish move over there since the bottom is really tough to predict. If anything, we would have thought it would have moved to like 23.6 or 38.2%, which it did. It started to pivot right here, right? We thought it was all going to go down, right? But market likes to trip everybody up that they can before it takes a direction, and so failed there, and then went to the upside, and then just when you think everything is safe, right here, starts to look like it's going to pivot, come back down right at the median line, the pitchfork median line, boom, big update today. So is what it is, not much we can do about it. So so let's look at a couple scenarios. I'm gonna jump over here to the so we can see how it looks in the on the daily with the candlesticks, and then just kind of zoom in. We can see here what we've done is originally, right, this is sort of the candlestick, this is the colorful version of it, right? So we we pushed through the cloud here, came up, didn't almost hit the upper Bollinger Band 50-day moving average, came down, tagged it again, right into the cloud, right, came back down, right? So that was a nice nice kind of textbook wave down, right? And now it's getting a little non-textbook, so we have to kind of see what's going on here. So to me, this looks like a wave 1, 2, right? Potentially 3, right? But for 3, you'd expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe 4 or 5. So if anything, right, this could be an impulsive move right up into the cloud, right? And so, and then you can see how the cloud corresponds with this pitchfork, resistance line. So, so it's interesting. So it looks like this is a possible target here, this kind of 2700 area. And you can go farther into the cloud. I mean, it can do whatever it wants to, right? But it would make sense here for this to be, to go up. So now let's think about what this is, right? There's a lot going on here. So this could be, well, not too much going on. This could be a zigzag, right? So we have we definitely had an impulsive move down. So if we have a 5-wave move up after that, right, that tells us it's a zigzag, just like we talked about with McDonald's earlier. So the zigzag, actually pretty interesting here. There's a couple things that could go, right? So remember, zigzags are 5, 3, 5, right? And so this kind of just hit me here. So this initial 5-wave move down, A, B, C, 3, 5. This whole move right here could have been the a larger wave corrective move, really, and it could be done, right? So just a zigzag down, right? 5, 3, 5, and then we could be reversing now. The market could be ready to go all the way back up to new highs. That was just could have potentially been just a corrective move. If we go to the the monthly, weekly chart, just kind of see. I know this is really kind of nasty. Hold on. Here, right? So we talked about this before. So maybe 1, 2. It could have been like a wave 3 move down. This could have been 3 here. This could have just been this whole thing here. could have just been a wave 4, a zigzag wave 4, and we could be working our way up to new highs for wave 5. So that is a definite possibility at this point. So just kind of hit me there. So we need to keep that on the table. Or if we look at the if we go back to the bearish side of it, this could be a wave. This could be 1 2 1 2, right? So here we had 1 2, right? And now we know this is not a 4 anymore. It could be a 1 2, right? And that could have just been A, B, C, right? Because it hasn't finished that, really, it doesn't look like it's finished any sort of fifth, impulsive move up yet. Now, if it pulls back a little bit and goes back up, it could be, and that type of impulsive move could happen if Netflix earnings are good, on Thursday. That could really push the market up kind of into this area, but then from there, what do we have? We don't know. But yeah, so it could be a 1 2 and then 1 2. Smaller 1, smaller 2, and then we'll start like a wave 3, nice big impulsive move down of 3. So we got really two scenarios here, and it's all interesting that it comes, right at this 2600 level, right, which was a big line of indecision. A couple times it tried to break that earlier, so that 2600, was pretty key. So we're actually at a point where the market could completely rip to new all-time highs, or at a point where the market could completely go down to all-time lows, right? And I suppose you could say that any day, but but the market does, have, does show, price patterns, and that's why we, did the whole Elliott wave tutorial and everything. So those are kind of two scenarios, probably two big, a big bearish scenario and a big bullish scenario that we could look at. Another thing we could look at is that, this whole move down was a, like a 5 wave down, or an ABC, right? And then, so like I said, this could have been the wave 4. That's one possibility we go up. This could have just been a leg. This could have been the zigzag, 5 3 5, right? So, but then that might have just been the first leg of like an ABC. So this could be A, right? And then we could have, multiple zigzags of B, could trick everybody out that we went to all-time highs, and then C all the way down. So there's kind of three main scenarios that we could be looking at right here. So anyway, don't want to harp on that too much longer, but it kind of gives you a perspective where we are at the market. And the perspective is that we are at a major point of, of direction, potential direction change, and and it could go either way. And we've got some big earnings season coming up, so that's going to tell a lot of what's going on. We've got Brexit on the table, had some kind of negative stuff there. We've got haven't really heard too much about China trade talks, but just saw a tweet, out there from about China, infusing a bunch of money into their economy, and that could be a bullish move too. So yeah, and thanks to Chris for tweeting that out earlier. So there's all sorts of stuff going on, but like we said, you can go back in time and say, at any point and say, hey, there's all sorts of stuff going on, right? So let's just look at the technicals and see what's going on. So and trade it as we can. So in the meantime, for the $550,000 challenge, obviously not happy about the current position, with the account, but at least we eliminated losses early. We're trying to get winners to run, but it's just tough. It is a challenge with options because even though stocks are going in the direction you want, you also want that vega. You want that quick move, that delta. Everything to really move into place, and so it's going to be very challenging, especially in the beginning of a move. So, so I'm going to kind of adjust that a little bit and start focusing more on the FANG stocks, the FANGers, and because those actually move, and we can start profiting on those on a daily basis, maybe 1 or 2 days too. So, and that's kind of where my skill set is anyway. So we may as well maximize that. And in the lower time frames, we could still do the Elliott wave analysis. It really worked on Amazon. If you guys saw that the other day, I just wanted to show this. I wasn't able to take the position on it. I missed it yesterday when it hit the 16.15, even though I was calling for it. And then should have bought it today before a meeting I had, and just grab some calls. And let me just do this. But we had remember we had the triangle wave 4. And like I said, if it undershoots that triangle, chances are you get a higher shoot up, right? And so it did that, right? So that was our it did that, and then it started wave 1, 2, and it looks like we're at 3, maybe a little, a little 3, then pull back and then back up. So it looks like you get through 1700 pretty easily, especially the market's strong. So Netflix is going to be a big tell on Thursday as to the how tech's going to look. So we'll see. It should be interesting. Okay, so that being said, what I want to talk about today is Bollinger Bands, and I've had a few requests too to talk about the 15-minute orbs, and so I want to go back over that, and I want to incorporate a couple strategies that for using the Bollinger Bands. So when you guys are looking at my really colorful chart, you'll see these big the thick orange lines. Okay, so those are the Bollinger Bands, right? So Bollinger Bands were were invented by John Bollinger back in the 80s. And he's a technical analyst, charter market technician, and he came up with this, right? I mean, there's no magic to it, right? So what we have here is the middle line, the mid Bollinger Band. All it is the default is your 20 moving average, right? So if you just go, you can click Bollinger Bands, you can see, that it's 20 moving average, right? And so and it's a simple moving average, right? So that's it is a common line to use to track stocks. And then the other lines, the upper Bollinger Band, lower Bollinger Band, are standard deviations, right? So one is just a 2 times standard deviation to the upside, and the other one's a 2 times standard deviation to the downside, right? And so so at that point, that's it, right? But it's pretty amazing, how he came up with this, and you have to imagine that tons of algorithms are going off of it too. But it's pretty phenomenal when you look at it. I've seen some. I haven't quite figured out how to do it yet with Thinkorswim, but I really like it. I've seen some screenshots where the background is kind of real dark below it, but it's real bright inside the Bollinger. It helps you to focus on that Bollinger Band. I think that's really cool. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple techniques that you can use for trading the orb. So we'll start with that, and then I'll go over a couple techniques on the Bollinger Band that you can use to help trade. And so and you can use these on any time frame. So I'm going to show you here on the 15. In fact, real quick, one strategy is anytime you have a bar that closes outside one of the Bollinger Bands, you have a good chance for a reversal. And so right here on the 15, right, you have these 2 bars right here that close right underneath the lower Bollinger Band, right? And you can see what happened after that, right? Your first target, right, is your mid BB, right? And then it just kept on going, hit your cloud, and that's probably a good place to relax for a little bit, right? Certain bars like this, like a hammer bar that touches outside of it's okay, but when you have a full bar right outside those Bollinger Bands, those are good reversal potential areas, and we haven't seen that yet on the way up yet here on Amazon. This is only on the 15-minute time frame. We'll take a look at that on the daily time frame too. So let me pull up today. So we had JP Morgan, right? So JP Morgan had earnings. They it was relatively negative, right? But so was Citi was relatively negative, and it reversed. So it's kind of expecting a reversal on JP Morgan today, just because of seems to be the trend, right? So we did have a they never make it easy, right? But one thing we did see is the gap down, right? Put this first 15-minute bar, the 15-minute orb, right, the opening range bar, it put it below, right, the Bollinger Band, right? So we're completely outside of it. So in general, this would warrant a potential reversal. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it would warrant it, right? And so and the fact that it was green here too, this first bar was green. If it were red, then you could look to trail it down, right? And so in fact, these two would have led you to believe that as well. So this is really tricky, right? Now, but the only clue that I would say is you don't have to take these 15-minute orbs right at the get-go, right? And so it basically, let's see, the high here was 99.98, and the high here was 99.99. Actually, I tweeted out, I said that a 100 break. So if it got over 100, would be a good entry point, right? And that actually never happened. It didn't happen by a penny. But those whole numbers are really key, right? And we've talked about that before, right? The whole numbers and the half numbers. So 100 even, anything that ends with a .00 or a .50. Algorithms tend to kick in those levels, for defense and offense and all that stuff. So so you got to keep that in mind. All right, so 15-minute orb. Even if you did go long here and you were super brave, right? I know this is a $1.38 bar, but if you had your stop there, I mean, it would have been successful. But it's really hard to do that, especially when it's pulling back, especially when it gets pulls back past that 50% range. I mean, there's nothing fun about that, right? And then this kind of ticked down pretty far too, so you'd have been sweating, right, if that did happen. So. But what you can see is that this stayed outside the bar, so that implies that there is a reversal, potentially coming, right? didn't quite blast out over this, so you follow the Bollinger Band down, and then you had a hammer bar, right, that went into the Bollinger Band. And then so from there, you've got your 100 level, and at that point, here was the first break that was pretty good, right? So that broke well, and then you gave you a doji, right? So if you had your stop just below here, right, below the doji, it also happened to correspond with the cloud too, then it went inside 15, right? Then it tried to push again, and then it finally went, right? Then it finally launched. Got through the mid Bollinger Band and then went all the way to the top. So at that point it went, good 2.5 points there. So I know if a few of you caught it, and appreciate, I always like to hear about everybody, being successful, but I know a few of you missed it too. So so hopefully that helps a little bit. And if you add these Bollinger Bands to your 15-minute chart or all your charts, which I've done to mine, including the cloud, that can help you give you just a few more points of reference to help trade those. And so that, hopefully that helps you guys. I wanted to incorporate both the orb and the Bollinger Band on that one. So what I want to do next is just kind of just show a few examples of trading off of the daily time frame, which I'm going to start incorporating into the $50,000 challenge. Is incorporating this with swing trades too. And so let me go to the daily and show a few examples here with Facebook. Right, Facebook's had a really good run. There's one strategy that you can use, and perhaps you guys have heard of the 2B reversal bottom, but it's basically a double bottom, but the second bottom goes a little bit lower than the first. And so that ends up being a really good reversal opportunity with the Bollinger Bands if it closes outside, right? If you have it close outside of the Bollinger Band. Obviously, fully outside would be great, but a close outside of it is good too, where you have the real body, right? The real body. So just the not the shadows, but the real body is outside of it. So so here, just as an example, this closed, the real body closed outside of the Bollinger Band here, right? So you'd expect a reversal, and lo and behold, it did, right? Now it would have been a little bit painful through a few of these. It's easy to look at it after the fact and be like, oh yeah, that went up. But what happened? It gapped up, kind of pushed up here, and actually that probably would have been a good place if you had options. Would have been a good place to take profits, right? Because then the next day it came down and it gave you a big red bar, and that's kind of scary, right? Because it would be like, okay, well that's actually lower than probably where I entered, right? So that's kind of scary, all right? So we don't want that, right? And then it went inside, and then it had a big engulfing bar. I mean, so this was not an easy one to manage, even with options, right? Because all these bars that keeps taking you back to these levels, it kind of freaks you out, right? Because it's like, okay, well, when is this thing going to move? But you did see, if anything, hindsight is 20/20, and you can see that that this closed outside of the Bollinger Band and moved its way up. So anyway, fast forward a few weeks, and bounced off the 50-day moving average, came back down, right, and then pushed through, pierced through the this bar here, pierced through the Bollinger Band, and the next day it tried to get back in it, but look what it did. Real body closed underneath it, right? So that's going to signal a potential reversal there too. And what I also like, and when you combine these things, Bollinger Bands work actually, most reversal strategies work really well with oversold or overbought conditions on the RSI. So you had a nice dip down here on the RSI, pretty close to oversold. It didn't go quite under the bar, but it's pretty darn close, right? And so so at this point, this real body closes underneath the Bollinger Band, and from there you have the same thing, right? So in terms of a swing trade, this is good, right? Because it goes long. I mean, that bar right there, that would have been enough to take profits on an option, right? That certainly would have doubled, I would imagine, the next day. And then then it would have chopped and all that stuff. And then if you could have held through all of this, I mean, it would have been pretty phenomenal. But there was so many resistance points that would have been tough to really go long, even in here, right? Because you had a bunch of inside days, and it finally went up. So you'd have to have been pretty super confident that it was going to break the cloud and keep going. So so that's Facebook there, and that kind of shows you how to look at those on a reversal. So what I'll do though is I'll look to see if there's you can also do that for shorting as well. Facebook has been in a pretty big downtrend, so you're not going to see too many outside the full bars completely outside the Bollinger Band top there. So I don't really see any coming here. Let me see if I can scroll out a little bit. It was just going up for so long, it's pretty tough to see a big reversal. But when you can see them, obviously they're significant, right? So these didn't quite go underneath full bar there. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, just in the past 3 years, there was nothing to the short side on Facebook. And if that doesn't give you a clue that there's a chance there, it's for it to go long. That's one of them, right? But here you had a couple, right? Real body, it looks like that closed, kind of started to move up. But yeah, so that was pretty significant here. Then when you can combine your other tools with like your pitchfork and your cloud and your other moving averages, these techniques can be very powerful for your trading. What else do I want to mention? Let's see. Okay, so we talked about the double bottom, we talked about outside the band, and we talked about the orb. So that's pretty much it. That's basically what I wanted to cover. Those are some major ones that you can use, especially when you're trading in volatile markets, because you get big swing moves, right? Like here's a big push down, right? But the real body bar closed below the Bollinger Band, so hey, this is an indication that it might be a good reversal. And what else? RSI, right? Oversold position, right? So great place to take a long right there, especially on a swing. And here same thing, right? Low RSI, oversold, and then nice long right there. So in volatile markets, that's what we want to look for. We want to look for these big moves that come from crazy pushes to the downside, crazy enough to put it outside the Bollinger Band. So here with Facebook, we're basically this is on my list too for the $50,000 challenge. What we've done here is we've put in a bit of a topping tail. It's it's still a bullish Urakiri bar. I would like to go long over this 150.25. I'll look at that tomorrow. I would like to see a pullback. Futures are up a little bit, but I would like to see a pullback because if you do the wave count on this, this could have been a wave 1 up. I would look for a pullback, maybe down to 145, and then I would look to go along there to get a push back through the cloud, back over the Bollinger Band to maybe wave 3, 4, and then 5, all the way back up to 160. But I would definitely probably take profits if it came back to 145. I would definitely take profits at 155. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for tomorrow. Apple, real quick. That's on the list too, because these, you can get options relatively cheaply with these stocks. And they're still fine. Look, here's a real body bar closed below the Bollinger Band. If you went long here at the close, right, boom, nice huge day the next day. And RSI was, on this bar here was oversold, right? And here too, oversold again, right? So to me, real body just about closed just outside it. So that was a little bit of a risk there, but it still gave you a nice push back to the upside. And so now we're contending with the mid Bollinger Band. So you can see I've got an alert here, basically a 154 break. If the market's still pretty strong, you could see a push back up to the upper Bollinger Band, up to 165. So Apple and Facebook are definitely going to be on the watch list. And then that's pretty much it. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or comments or chart requests, please feel free to put those in the chat window, and we'll get to those. And again, I need to cut off at 10:30. Just because I just kind of want to limit the evening video to an hour, just so I can take care of personal stuff and get ready to go to sleep. So if you have chart requests, just try to limit to them to a few, 5 probably at the most, and we'll go through those, and this way we can everybody can get a chance to ask their questions and all that. So so let's do that. So what's going on, guys? Justin, how's it going? You made it, man. Appreciate it. YouTube account, good to see you. Alan, what's going on, man? Good evening. Harvey, always good to see you. Justin, great day. Only had to make one trade and walked away happy. That's good, man. And good for you for being able to walk away too, because it's very easy to fall in the trap when you have a good win, is to keep pushing, right? And then that's a great way to lose those losses. So good job for your discipline on that trade. We talked about that before too. Is if you have like a really big trade, right? It's good to take a break and only risk. You have to know your abilities, right? How it's consistent you are at trading. Like right now, like my abilities on this swing trading is about 50%, right? Like Starbucks is working. It's profitable. It's not huge. And Crocs, it worked, right? It wasn't huge, but it worked. And so actually I ended up flat on, but it worked. It was profitable. When I got out, it was just flat. But so I'm hitting 50%, right? So if you have a big win, the next one, is probably a good idea only to risk 10% of your earnings, right? 10% of your profits. Because if you go 100% of your profits, it's really easy to lose that really quickly because you get overconfident and you lose sight of the technicals that got you into the last trade in the first place. So something to keep in mind. Merritt, what's going on? Good mood. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think that's just the way to do it. We'll get bigger moves out of that. So, and we can still do Elliott wave on it. We can still look at Bollinger Bands. We could use the cloud and use technical analysis. So it should be pretty good. What's going on, Modern Picasso? Jimmy, how's it going? Yeah, doing good, doing good. Matt, what's going on, man? Yeah, hope you had a good day too. Kyle, what's going on, man? I know focus on Fang, but if you have a chance, you can take a look at Hog. Good old Hog. Hog can be a hog. That's a tough one to trade. I've tried to day trade this one before, and golly, it's just the spreads go to like 10 to 15 cents, and then it doesn't move, and it can be a little challenging. But yeah, you do have earnings coming up, so that is good. You've had a pretty good run here. So it looks like these last couple runs here, kind of comes back a little bit. So just careful of that. Didn't have quite a big move outside of the Bollinger Band, but you had a decent reversal bar up here. That's on the weekly. Inside month, let's see the daily. You see the daily is it trades real smoothly, small ranges, and a small range accompanied with big spreads is never fun, right? So if you had 50-cent moves here and the spreads were 10 cents, it's like you're 5 trades away from being hugely stopped out over nothing, right? So, but to its credit, you do have an inside day. Right, so that does look pretty bullish. You've got a upper Bollinger Band curling up. You got 50-day moving average, so it looks like 37.75 is possible. You could get like a potential 50-cent move to the upside. Short term, spinning top on the 60. Let's just take a look at our. Let's take a look at our stuff. Okay, so we had kind of a high here, maybe one down, sort of an extended, move down here, maybe sort of like an A, B, C-ish. Tough. This is a tough one to read. I mean, this could have been like 3. It can't be a 4. Maybe this is the 3, right? This could be a 4, right? If that were part of the week 2, and then might see a further push down. So we'll see. They've had a lot of trouble recently. Had some trouble recently with some political issues and things like that. So we'll see if that helped or hurt their sales, right? Because they're looking at putting headquarters over in Europe, and maybe there's a lot of Americans threatening to take away sales. So that could be some interesting news which would push this a little bit further to the downside. So we'll see how that comes out at the end of the month. But Pitchfork, I mean, you can see these some volumetric areas here. It's below those channels. It might want to even test up here. If the wave count is wrong, it would go up to that 40 level pretty quickly. And then let's see. So here, maybe here. Look at that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right. We've got about a median line kind of resistance area. If we moved it over here, that might be. Yeah, that's pretty good. Right there. So look, see if it pivots there. You might get another push to the downside too. So that's Hog. What else we got going on? Oh, Barga, what's going on? Doing well, thank you. What do you think about Netflix after earnings report, up or down? So personally, I think it's gonna go down. I mean, this move has been ridiculous. It's like straight vertical off of the drop. I mean, I get people throwing money into something, out of some other stocks and all that stuff, but Netflix, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, it's moving. I mean, some people probably got rich off of this, but it's just incredible. I just can't imagine. But we'll see how it behaves. We've got 2 more days, 2 more full trading days to see. I do find it interesting that it came up all the way to this median line here at the Pitchfork. There's a lot of volumetric resistance right here, so it would be possible to see a pivot and then a move down. A little bit before earnings. It might chop into earnings and then see where it goes. But at this point, if it closes right here, it could go either way. It could go all the way up to 420, funding secured, or it could go all the way down to 300, possibly below. So I don't know. But personally, my gut tells me that it's lower, because why would they push it up like this? It just looks totally manipulated to me, right? And then all these upgrades, from all the the big banks, and then today, it still went up on them raising rates, that's You gotta be careful, right? I mean, Netflix crashed, like 10 years ago after they raised rates, especially during the bad economy, and people just quit their service because it's extraneous. And they must be relying on, maybe that people just are addicted to it or something like that. But I don't know, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. It could really tank. The other question is, why did they raise rates, right? So did they raise rates because they weren't meeting earnings, right? So maybe earnings are bad, and forward guidance is good because they're raising rates. So we'll see. It could be interesting. So yeah, I mean, that would be the worst if it just kind of stays the same, right? Just kind of chops. But yeah, personally, I think down because I just think they manipulated this whole thing up just so they could get out of it, right? So made a ton of money on themselves up and then puke it back down, right? So this will be one to go in the history. This will be a great lesson for all of us just to see how it behaves there. But I do think down. YouTube account, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look at Neo and Tilray. These are good ones. So Neo. So Neo. Right, we did a pitchfork a while ago. We tried short, had a pretty good, short opportunity as it came back. We tried here, I think we did that live here, or we talked about it live, and it's just been holding into this volumetric channel right here. But what happened is, tried to go in the pitchfork, failed. Now it's out of it. This became support. Now it's back over this kind of critical area. So I think this is actually a pretty good pullback. Like a 1, 2. I mean, we might get another push up 3. Back up over $8. And then if it can get over this $8 and kind of 50-cent area, I mean, it should test some all-time highs. The IPO level I was watching today, I got an alert today that it broke, what was it, 6, or was it one of the other days? It broke the IPO high, and that gave it a little bit of a push. I think it was like here. Yeah, 648. That's what gave it that push there, the new IPO, the new high for the IPO. But other than that, it's kind of consolidating here, but it could get another pop to the upside. Tilray. Tilray is really interesting. We've been looking at this one for a while. Really tough to count. In terms of waves. I mean, this could be like a, wave 1, 2, and it could sort of be working on a 3 type thing. It's just such a big move. I mean, you have to really dig into it here. This could have been, A, triangle B. C never really happened, right? So but anyway, but if you just look at the triangles, right, it did overshoot this. It overshot a lot more than I was thinking, but because of that, it might kind of go back down. So I kind of thought there'd be a little bit more upside potential to this today, but it really seems that they released the shares today, right? Yeah, so there we go. So Tilray shares are down 30% is like, so imagine that, right? Everybody was so bullish on it right before the shares were coming out, and they had like some sort of activist guy who was part of it and was like, "Oh, I'm not selling my shares," right? And so, yep, so it probably got a lot of people in calls and all that stuff and buying long, and then it just completely reversed. Not surprised at that, right? So that's just one of the things that you learn about the market is like wherever it seems like the majority of people are thinking, right, if it's on CNBC or something like that, it's probably going to be the opposite. So we'll see. But yeah, it could go. I mean, it could go a lot lower. There's tons of gaps to fill below, right? 58, 58, 44. I mean, it could go, even down to 28, right? So definitely worth watching. I mean, this is a very fascinating stock. What's going on, Paul? How are you, man? Clayton, what's going on? Good evening. I know, yeah, that 2603 has been taken out. That's right, not with a lot of force. So yeah, Amazon strong. Waiting for the dump on Netflix. That's right. So yeah, so we'll see. We went over a couple different scenarios that we might be at long-term up, long-term down, or ABC correction. So so we'll see there. Rookie Trader, what's going on, man? Option premiums for stops like Amazon, Nvidia, etc. high for our challenge. Are you planning to do the same 300? No, I'm not going to increase my account. If I don't do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to keep loading it up. Maybe I'll try it again like halfway through the year or something like that. To be like the comeback trader or something. But I think we're going to make it, man. Yeah. So I mean, Nvidia is high. Like Amazon, of course, is high. I'm not going to mess with that. But Nvidia is possible. But Facebook, is pretty reasonable. If we pull back to 145 tomorrow, you know, I mean, how much are the options? The right now, if I was like 150, 155, you know, not too bad, 20 cents. Right, I know these are the weeklies, but you know, if it pulls back tomorrow really quickly and then we get a sharp move back to the upside, you know, if we get a couple 20s here, you know, we can move up to, you know, $1 pretty quickly and get a 5x trade, you know, within a day. So Facebook's not too bad, and Apple I think is not too bad either. Apple was what was it, the 144 break or something like that, or I'm sorry, the 154 break. Yeah, if we do that, you know, and we buy, you know, what did I say? Could maybe to 160. I mean, they're only 9 cents, right? So there's potential there. And then imagine that if it went like in the money too. Gosh, we make a 10 times trade or a 20 times trade. That'd be fantastic. So I think we could get out here, man. So I'm feeling good about it. What's going on, Babwa? You know, Apple. Yeah. So just looking at Apple here. So let's take a look at Apple. Yeah, so Apple, you know, not so much on the monthly, but it could eventually turn into a hammer, which could be a reversal. I like the double inside week so far. Right now, the weekly high was 154.53, so that's really good to our bullish sentiment, right? So anytime you break an inside week, just like you break an inside day or inside hour or something like that, right? You can usually get like a little bit of a push. So so right now, so far so good. Apple's looking pretty good. If we can get over that weekly high, remember I said 154 a little bit earlier, then that would be a good shot. I think at the 160, you know, at least the 160 level. And what do we say 160s are trading at? 9 cents. Yeah. So that'd be a good, you know, over 2 days that would be pretty good. I don't want to trade anything through Netflix earnings, right? Because that could change the whole market, right? So, but you know, we'll look for a day trade here and there. But yeah, but then don't forget too, after Netflix earnings, the premiums are going to drop, you know, really high. So that'll be good too. They will reset themselves. So yeah, so we got the double week there. You know, pretty bullish move today. It's up at the mid BB. You know, spinning top or doji close, and then the hourly, like we said, you know, it's basically got back into the pitchfork range. And instead of pivoting like I thought it was and going to get weak yesterday, now it's looking pretty strong, showing that pitchfork is support, and then, you know, could give you a nice little push up there. You know, I think, you know, potentially before expiration. Let's see how next week's look, just in case. So next week we go with the 25ths. Yeah, that's great. 40 cents. We're good. We're good. Golden. But again, I don't want to trade. You know, I don't want to trade a tech stock through Netflix earnings, because that's going to move the market one way or the other. But Netflix should be good too on the 15-minute orb, and let's definitely use the Bollinger Bands on that one. PDX options, what's going on? Roku consolidation and breakout in the daily, which ready to take off Netflix. Yeah, so we'll see what Netflix. Yeah, if Netflix is good, Roku should definitely be a sympathy trade at the upside. Yeah, big consolidation right here. This is totally a another triangle. I didn't even look to see what kind of inside day situation we are. But we have another triangle here, right? I think this triangle was a B, right? So let's see, maybe, you know, ABC. So if this is not a correction, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so this could be a 4, wave 4. So so we'll see how this goes. So look for a breakout somewhere, right? Obviously a breakout above this, you know, 41, 42 level, you know, should be pretty good and might go for the gap. And if it undershoots, look for a reversal again there too. Because this does look like it could be a potential, you know, wave 4. So, you know, I think this ABC is wrong now. I'll take those out. You know, a bit of a small triangle there, but let's see here. You know, so to say, for instance, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would expect to move 5. You know, 5 could get to fill that gap, so let's put that there. Because it wouldn't be wave 3 wouldn't be the smallest wave, so you could see, you know, some sort of move like that. I think it looks pretty good. How does it look on the daily? What do we close with? Nice inside. Is that inside day? High. Yeah, inside day. So we'll look at that too. I'll put up blur alert on that one. That's a good one. those alerts on there. We'll add that to the game plan too. Good catch there. Or below. Put it down. Okay. I'm gonna add that to the list. Don't think we had any. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. All right. Nice one. Chris, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Clayton, Bollinger Bands usually contract after big expansion widening like Facebook. Yeah, that's a good point, Clayton. Definitely worth looking at here. So, yeah, so you have, they kind of, compress, and here's the compression right here, expansion, right? And so it looks like, they might come in and compress somewhere inside this cloud too, but we'll see. We'll see if it's got that push too, because it might kind of, well, this is actually still pretty wide, so we'll see. It might compress down here, but nice. Yeah, good point. Bob, NM. Navos. Nice reversal month so far. Inside week, kind of a reversal week. So basically over $3.40. Should give you kind of a bullish move. Then other than that, it's obviously had struggled in the past. But yeah, that's that key level there. 340, and then that was your weekly reversal bar. Well, we're in that week right now, but I try to get over. At least get a breakout here of this 450. For that one. So it could be interesting. Tilray, Merit, we just talked about that. So I think we're good there. And then Rob, what's going on, man? NVIDIA. Yeah, good one on NVIDIA. The only thing that on NVIDIA was interesting is it's kind of approaching this some volumetric resistance right here, right? And so if you can get above that, I think it can finally move. But this is the only one that really looks like it's put in sort of like a corrective wave, right? So one, maybe A, B, C, type situation, right? So this could have been 1, 2, A, B, C, wave 4, potential, and then maybe have a wave 5 push down, but it needs to move, right? It needs to move. But it does have this nice big gap up here, which I would like to see if it gets back over this one, kind of 159.50 area. Just to see where it looks like on the I think this one was, yeah, we had an inside 60 anchor on this one too, so that's that'll be, I would watch this at the open tomorrow, because that's the only FANG stock that had that. It's running into a little bit of resistance up here over 168, but if it can get over, like we said, the 155 area, it could push, right? So far so good. Clayton, what's going on, man? Microsoft, AXP, and pizza. Let's see. So Microsoft is doing it, right? Let's see. So monthly, inside month, the week so far is looking pretty good, pretty bullish. Look at that. The mid Bollinger Band is right at the peak of that volumetric resistance area. So just watch out. 107 is a potential target. On the long side. Banged into the 50-day moving average, needs to get through that. And again, that 107 area, we get a lot of resistance up here. So just be careful there. Of course, a breakout later would be good too. And then Elliott wave wise, let's see. We've analyzed this a little bit. Right there at that median line, 1 ABC 2, and it's kind of doing the exact same thing as the market right now. So just see how it holds this line, and then look for potential entries. AXP. Looking good. We've analyzed this one not too long ago. It does look like it's coming up this, following this reaction line to the upside, and it looks like it might be doing a, maybe 1, 2, a 1, 2, and then could be working on a wave 3 push to the upside. If you can get over that area, that 101, 101.50, then you can probably see 103 pretty quickly after that. And then pizza, Papa John's. How are they doing? Oh, they're still in the 40s. Okay, cool. Yeah, they've been consolidating for a long time. Earnings coming up. This is another difficult one to trade because the spreads sometimes look good, and then I've traded it a few times on what I thought were good setups, and like the spreads were good, and then as soon as I got in it was like the spreads jumped from they were originally 3 or 4 cents, and they jumped to 10 cents. It's like, why are you doing this? So, but it has found a lot of support right here at this area. So it may be trying to eventually try to reverse here. So might get a little earnings run on it. We'll see. I've recently given them some money, so for some pepperoni. Harvey, what's going on? WGPH. WGPH is not coming up. WPGH? WGPH. Harvey, if you could type that in again, I just don't know which one it is. Sorry, man. I feel like I know what you're trying to ask. I think you're asking about like a wellness stock or something, but what's Scott's? Oh, that was SMG. Sorry. Yeah, let me know. I just didn't catch it. Deerage, what's going on now? No. Yeah, now I think I looked at this one recently. It's looking pretty bullish. Let's just assume this was just sort of like a 3 or a 5, right? Then I think you've got like a couple, it's working on some sort of corrective pattern here, but for the most part, ABC, I think it's correcting here. You've got kind of this W bottom. I mean, it looks pretty bullish to me. I mean, I would try to get it over this 194, 195 level. See what kind of move you can get. But yeah, it does look good. See that? It's even over this kind of mid Bollinger Band area. Just look to see if we can get a little bit push up on it. But I mean, it looks like if it does run, it could definitely take out those highs. This is a pretty bullish setup, I think. And earnings are 2 weeks. Thanks for listening. Good, Jeff. That's awesome. I'm glad you caught that. That's great. Yeah, and then now you know how these 15 orbs work, right? You have big earnings on a big name stock. It's something to look for. Rajat, what's going on, man? Let's see. So Tesla. Let's take a look at that. Tesla. Gosh, I got alerts all over this thing. Again, really tough to do wave counts on this thing. It looks like it's in sort of a larger kind of megaphone type pattern. It is. I'm gonna have to go to the candlesticks on this one. Really just consolidating here, which is kind of interesting. I am looking forward to earnings. I mean, earnings on this one are just like entertaining. You just get popcorn and watch it. I mean, it's just so much fun. This do an inside day. This is week. No, not an inside week, but working on a doji week. Trying to see if there's anything actionable. It's a bullish Yorikiri bar here. If you can get over, if you can get back over the highs, right? It might be able to push up to this like 357 type level. But it's right in this cloud now. So it had a nice, nice bottom, nice bottom reversal here. Let's see if we had any other reversals that we can see back here. Here's one that was potential that would have gapped down the next day. That was hilarious. So yeah, for the most part, it's staying within the Bollinger Bands, but you can see this compression area right here, right? And then it expanded. So keep that in mind. Thanks for bringing that up, Clayton. This was a good, topping tail too there. That was a good reversal bar. What else? Yeah, so really hard to get, anything intermediate. It does look like a lot of consolidation right here, so needs to break out over, today's highs to try to at least push up to 357. If it were to fail and hit, yesterday's lows, we might see a move to the bottom of the cloud here at like 314 over the next couple days. Let's see, VHC, Merit. Oh yes, I think I tweeted this out a little bit earlier. Huge move today, but they basically settled or won a lawsuit with Apple, and so yeah, that was a big move. I would definitely expect to see some follow through on this, guys. So I'm going to add this to the 15 orb list tomorrow, because it does look pretty good. So watch the 15 orb on this tomorrow. That's a huge move and could get some follow through. You might have a pause day. Look at that, it went double inside day too, I think, and then then a real narrow range day, and then then kind of went right. So it's basically a measure move up. So might see some more consolidation, but it really is doing good, like kind of breaking out there. So that's huge, right? I think it's a potential buyout target from Apple too. Problem with FANG stock is they're fast moving. So I know exactly. No, I totally agree, Merritt. Yeah, I mean it is. I totally agree, but options though, I mean, it's you can make money pretty quick. So I'll try to hold it. If I do, and I'll try to hold it for like a day or two, right, to at least get some sort of push. Yeah, just default values on Bollinger Bands. So that's all you need. Deerage, what's going on now? Has a double inside A. Oh, sweet. Did I not see that? I thought I. Oh, cool. No, I went to the. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. So yeah, nice consolidation here on the double inside day too, right at the median line. So yeah, so just look to use a strategy on that one. I mean, if it breaks to the upside, it could not only get through 198, but could keep pushing, right, and break to the downside as well. Could touch the could touch the lower ends of the cloud. So yeah, good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Daniel, what's going on? BHC would have been very good for our challenge. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. Goodness gracious. Shirley, what's going on? I'm only going to grab 5 of these, okay? Hope that's okay. Okay, so let's start with AES. AES, yeah, looking good. Nice little breakout here over the cloud on the daily. Hammer week so far. Nice. When you see a cloud that looks like this, see how that's like expanding like that? That really shows that you're uptrending, right? And it's holding that 20 moving average too on the weekly. So that looks very good, very bullish. Yep, see it back tested that volumetric support level, and then it's coming back up. So look, potential, type pullback, and then look for it to eventually try to take out that 1628 level. Let's find one in the middle. How about BHP? That looks good. Okay. So we've been looking at this one. It's still working its way. Yeah, it went up, gap down, consolidating, right? But it makes sense. It's an ADR. Still, watch, see if it tests that 45 level and then gives another push up to this 51 level. Let's go back to Court because I like that one, and then CSIQ. Yeah, still working well on this one. This is a great stock to trade. So it's obviously very bullish sequence right now. Nice way it held the pitchfork, kind of broke out, and it might pull back a little bit for another consolidation, but I would anticipate it to at least get back up to 17 at some point. CSIQ, right? Very bullish. It's been testing this the low end of this channel for a while. Now let's see if it's starting to break out here. If we can get over 18, I think you can see 19 pretty quickly, and then after that in the 20s. So that's looking pretty good. GBT, how about GBT. Then we'll look at one more after that. Yeah, so GBT, look at that. So it's coming up and it's breaking outside of this pitchfork, right? So it's held those volumetric levels. So I would anticipate it getting back up to 49.50 sometime in the near future, and then. That's what it was, Harvey. Sorry, I just saw it right there. Okay. And then let's look at match. MTCH. Yep, so far so good. I mean, you're nailing these, Shirley. So, yeah, nice pullback there. It's bouncing up. I think it looks like it still wants to go. I would give this one to 50 as well. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, thank you, Shirley. Aaron, what's going on? PayPal, please, if we have time. Okay, so PayPal. Very nice. So we've pitchforked this one earlier too. It was consolidating the lower end of the pitchfork. Now it's kind of broken out again to see if it can hold this level at like 89, 89.25, and then I would look to see it push a little bit higher up to that 100 level. Would be cool. And you've got 2 weeks for an earnings run too. So so just be careful into earnings. But it does look like it could push a little bit, especially if tech is strong over the next couple days, which it seems to be ripping. GWPH, Harvey. I knew that. I knew you meant that. I just couldn't remember the ticker off the top of my head. Yeah. So this is going great, man. So it's back over 124, 125. I would say you got a reversal. I mean, that could pull back here and then go up. But as long as it holds, kind of this 125 area, I think it could go. So I mean, I think even over 130, it would be worth some sort of swing up to there, up to the new highs, at least to 150. So yeah, it looks pretty good. These stocks are ripping. What's going on, Kim? How are you? Nice. I like the glasses. Rajat, what's going on? Merritt, hey, no problem, Rajat. No problem, Merritt. So good to see you guys. I think we did some good review today, and we talked about Bollinger Bands. We talked about trading those in the volatile market with a couple new strategies. We talked about using the Bollinger Bands in conjunction with the 15 orbs. And we went over some game plan. $50,000 challenge ideas, talking about switching over to fangs and maybe trimming up our the hold time on those. Right now Starbucks is still looking pretty good, so we'll keep holding that, and then hopefully it just rips for us. And we did a bunch of chart requests, so I hope that was helpful and you guys learned something, and I know I did. So I hope you guys have a great night and a good trading and safe trading day tomorrow, and I'll tweet out the game plan and the $50,000 update, and I will see you guys tomorrow on Twitter. All right, have an awesome day, an awesome night. Talk to you later.